See, once you made an incision, getting a suture out of the wrapper. This is PDS suture, called Dexon. How do you get a suture out of the wrapper? You open the wrapper like you open any wrapper. Once you've got it out, you can see there is a slit here, and also that there is a black line. Most people trained poorly, or those who have not seen it, they'll go cutting right across with the scissors. This will cut suture into pieces, which is dangerous. So the correct method of opening and getting it out is to go down to the cut, to the black line, and go along the black line and down. This is how you open up the wrapper. You don't go right across. If you peel it off also right across, it's a wrong practice. Should not be done. Now once I have got this out, the rest is very simple. I can actually see there are two cuts. One is an oblique cut, you can see that, and a straight cut. The straight cut is where the needle is, almost always. Because always is always wrong in surgery. Never is never right. Almost always. Now we get this needle grafted on the needle holder and get it off the hook. There is an oblique hook is for the thread. The next step is very important. You take the wrapper away, not the needle, which will injure somebody. And certainly not both, you know that, which is the commonest. Don't take out both like this. You'll have somebody ducking there, somebody ducking here, which is the wrong way of doing it. You must learn the correct way of doing things. Even if you learn one correct way of doing, you can modify it to suit your personality. You don't learn wrong things because old habits, bad habits are like soft beds. Easy to get in, difficult to come out. You should make it a point to learn good things in the beginning only. Later on, don't think I learn when I'm 50-year-old. It doesn't really end. Now, you got to grasp the needle at 1/3, 2/3. 2/3 is towards the tip. 1/3 towards the swage. This is the swage where the thread is. Some people like to hold it half also, particularly when the needle is small, like in vascular surgery. But mostly it is 1/3, 2/3. Clear? Now once I've got that, we're not going to discuss suturing at length. I'll just show you one, probably two sutures. When you're entering the skin, always enter at right angles like this. This is an incorrect way of doing it. Most commonly done. At right angles to the skin. So that you can rotate it with the movement of your wrist. Most works in surgery are done by traction and counter traction. I apply counter and it's come through. I can graft the needle. And the second is by using your elbows and wrist. Is that right? Elbows and wrist. What's the ideal height for an operating table? Elbows by the side, at the level of the elbow. Some people like to call it umbilicus also. But umbilicus is not fixed in its position, it keeps changing places. So you must be careful about putting the table at that height. The advantage is you can use the elbows effectively, that's why I remembered it. So the movements are supination and pronation while suturing. If there is an activity happening at your shoulders, you're either doing some work which is requiring some kind of a force, or you're doing an obstetrics work, or you're doing an orthopedics work, where you can stand wherever you like. But surgery is done at the level of the elbows, so that you are precise in your movements. If you're moving your needle with the pressure of your shoulder, then probably the table is either too high or too low. Or the needle is blunt, or you don't know how to use it. Now needle holder has a characteristic appearance, if you look at it. It has got crisscross serrations, not transverse serrations. The transverse serration, if this was the needle, would ensure this axis not getting neutralized. This gets neutralized. So you can't use artery forces for holding the needle for this reason. Now how do I ensure that both axes are neutralized? I have crisscross serrations. They neutralize each other. Or I have a hole here or both. So there is a hole here where the needle can sit and it steadies down. This is the needle, it steadies down. Now therefore hold the needle at the right place, and the grip for the needle holder is also very, very important. It is applicable to all instruments that have got rings at the back. Just about distal to the terminal interphalangeal joint of the thumb and ring finger. Supported on the middle and guided by the index. The other grip is also called coaxial grip, where you hold the needle holder like a pistol. You can use it like this and go back like this. Use it like this, go back like this. So you have an advantage of freedom there. But this is also good. Clumsy way to hold it. Any instrument which has got rings at the back, including scissors. Classical grip. Just about terminal, distal to the terminal interphalangeal joint of the ring finger, thumb support in the middle, and support and cut it. Clumsy. Okay? Why? Because you're stuck. You're one with the instrument now. So you can't move, can't get it off, you'll struggle to get it off. The only time you take it down to the base of the finger is when you're palming the instrument. Palming it means rotating it backwards, and you can work with one hand, which is very common in some centers that you're the only person working. As I put the throw, I'll put the needle here or a needle holder with a needle. It comes from nowhere and you can use it for cutting. This stays in my palm. This is called palming an instrument. So you palm an instrument purposefully. Right? Like the pistol of 007. Now you see, now you don't. So you can actually use it effectively. You can use an artery forceps up your sleeve also. It's a couple of tricks up your sleeve so that you can use them out whenever you need them. You don't have to ask for those instruments. This is how you put a simple suture. If I put a simple suture. Now how far should you take the bite from the edge, from the skin? 3 centimeters. Yes, doctor? How far should you take the bite? You must have taken skin sutures sometime. How far you take the bite? Depth of the wound. Twice the depth of the wound. And 3 centimeters would be too far away. You'll be suturing somebody else. It's roughly, comes to roughly about 1 centimeter, because 5 millimeters is the depth of the skin when you're suturing it. It can be deeper than that. Twice the depth of the wound. So if it is, say 1 centimeter you're trying to take away, then it should be the same on both the sides. The other thing is, the distance between the 2 sutures should be the same. So say if you're putting at 1 centimeter away from the edge, the distance between 2 bites, subsequent bites should be 1 centimeter, not more than that. And the length of the suture that you leave behind while cutting should be the same, 1 centimeter. So easier to remember. If x is the depth, the distance from the edge of the bite, there should be 2x. The distance between sutures should be 2x. We understand it right. So you can put a simple suture like I've shown you just now, same depth throughout. And then you can use a hand knot. As I told you, the safest place for the needle to be on is the needle holder. And a very safe way of putting the needle back in the needle holder is, there is a hole here. You can actually grasp it in the hole. This needle is big for this needle holder. What you can actually do is, you can hold it somewhere like this. That's why needle holders have a hole here. You must be wondering often why they have a safest way. See why you should have, take precautions, because if you don't, if you're working in a good center, somebody doesn't like to have you that way. You're dangerous for others also. You must learn correct ways of doing things. You can't put it wherever you like. The least you can do is keep it on a needle holder, keep it away, and use another instrument to put on. If you cannot keep it away, keep it in front of you so that you are aware of it. The worst thing that can happen, which happens to any resident in the middle of the night, is he raps and raps and raps and raps. Like is to save effect, but this is the calmest mode of needle sticking. Never, never, never hold an instrument with your fingers. Instruments all the time. This is the power of needle precaution. Now this is the way I was talking about. Now I'll go within this, whatever number. I'll just take a bite here. This is a simple one. Simple suture. Skin sutures are the only situation where we can twist the throat. See, now I've got it here. I go back and cross. It will be slipping. Sorry? Where was it? Sorry. That part is covered. Okay. Is that clear? In the same line, parallel. This is a vertical mattress. This achieves cosmetic importance in this body, in addition to being hemostatic. If I want a horizontal mattress, which is better hemostatic suture than cosmetic suture, enter at right angles, rotate, and then you can actually go parallel to it. This would be horizontal mattress suture. Mattress sutures are put when we want hemostasis and cosmesis. Vertical mattresses more hemostatic, more cosmetic than hemostatic. Horizontal mattresses more hemostatic than cosmetic. Okay? Now you will put up. We'll have to do the water also. Then to take the marathon and persons to apply counter. Okay, we can move on to the next thing. I'll just tell me when you're ready. Now sutures basically are used for approximating tissues and providing tension and support till the time the tissue is healed on its own. Now the time can vary between various tissues. For skin it is different. For tough structures like fascia, adductor sheath it is different. For tendons it is different. So it will vary from one patient to another, one site to another. Now basically, grossly we can divide sutures into absorbable and non-absorbable sutures. Now absorbable suture, as the term indicates, are sutures which will be absorbed at a variable time with various sutures. Non-absorbable sutures are those that won't get absorbed and will remain unabsorbed throughout. Naturally, if the sutures get absorbed, there is a problem. There is a problem about various methods by which it will get absorbed. If it gets absorbed by methods, say by hydrolysis, it may not produce too much of tissue reaction. But if it gets dissolved or absorbed by enzymatic action, it will produce too much of tissue reaction, which is going to produce local reaction, and it's not a good suture. So basically, if you're looking at an ideal suture, the definition for an ideal suture was given by Sir Moynihan in 19th century. He was of the opinion that an ideal suture should be absorbable. It should be non-reactive. It should not produce reaction, local reaction, body reaction. It should provide adequate tissue support for the period you need it in a particular tissue. And finally, should be synthetic. It's very difficult to have an ideal suture, but the closest to ideal suture are many sutures. But some of them are absorbable, some are not. Now, absorbable sutures will get absorbed by either enzymatic action or by hydrolysis. So what can be the problem with the absorbable suture which is dissolve by enzymatic action. Start speaking wherever you are. It can get weakened with time. If there is infection, it won't provide adequate strength.
There will be a lot of tissue reaction.
There will be a lot of tissue reaction. You see, in a patient who is cachexic, malnourished, the body depends on energy. So the body will digest this suture to use for, it will digest the tissue fast, suture faster. Therefore, in patients with malignancy and cachexia, we won't put absorbable catgut sutures, etc. because they get absorbed by enzymatic action. The enzymes will act on anything which is digestible. What is catgut made out of? Gut of sheep. So it is tissue which can be absorbed. So it will be weakening even before the tissue has healed. So it's dangerous. Now those which get digested by hydrolysis are the ones where water gets into the tissue and dissolves it. Into the suture and weakens it and it gets dissolved. They are slightly better than enzymatic ones. Now the sutures which get dissolved by hydrolysis usually are synthetic ones. Natural ones will be naturally absorbed. So there will be enzymatic action. Now coming to non-absorbable sutures can again be synthetic or non-synthetic. Can you name a natural non-absorbable suture? Silk, which is made out of, or cotton. These are made out of naturally occurring objects. Like cotton, you make thread, thread is basically non-absorbable. Silk is a refined form, it's also non-absorbable. So you can have non-absorbable, absorbable differentiation. You can also classify sutures based on whether they are natural, occurring or synthetic. But absorbable and non-absorbable make sense. Now absorbable can be natural sutures or synthetic sutures. Now synthetic sutures which are absorbable include Vicodin, polydexon which we just discussed, etc. Now synthetic non-absorbable would include proline sutures which are made out of hydroxyproline, nylon sutures. Now nylon sutures, nylon stands for New York, London, NYLON. Now this suture came into existence for the first time during Second World War when the supply to America was cut off by, or to Allied forces did not get a supply of sutures. So they made their own synthetic non-absorbable suture, nylon, which is the first of its kind. Now nylon is used in surgery even today. We use it for putting bites on the, or for putting together tissues like rectus sheath. You can see that. It's a loop suture. It's got a loop at the end. It doesn't end up blindly. What's the advantage of this? Is a nylon suture loop. Now, it's a non-absorbable suture and the loop is effective. I'll just show you how is it effective. The important thing is it's used for putting the tough structures which need tissue support for a longer time. So you give non-absorbable sutures, you put non-absorbable sutures in tissues where the healing is going to take a long time. The sutures don't heal, it's a tissue that has to heal. So you provide support using sutures which are suitable to that tissue. It's not that you use all sutures for all tissue. That's why one has to learn about knotting with the different suture differently. Now what is the advantage of having a loop at the end? I'll just show you. You've got an incision and you don't want a knot at this end. So what do? I take an inside out bite. Suppose this is the rectus sheath of the abdomen. We are not sheath of the abdomen. Basically this exercise is about learning a little bit about sutures. Now the loop is here. So I'll just hold it. Don't leave it free. I have taken an inside out bite and then I'll take an outside in bite. I hope it is visible. Now I had to put otherwise a knot here. Can you leave it now? Now what do I do instead? I can go through this loop. I've gone through this loop and I'll just, so I don't need a knot. I'll continue now by coming out. I'm putting continuous sutures actually. like we put in the abdomen. Suppose this is a rectus sheath, we do hand would block. This is the mass closure technique which a lot of people know. You take a bite away at least 1 centimeter from the edge, and between the bites you take a distance of 1 centimeter. Keep holding this. Now I'll keep going at a distance of 1 centimeter. These are continuous sutures and I take, but they should be very close. And we don't put any lock in between. Okay. I'm just trying to show you how to put an ebony knot at the end, after which probably knotting will be mostly covered. I'm putting continuous sutures with adequate tension on the sutures and on the thread being kept by my assistant. Now I'll keep on putting them at the same distance from the edge. When I reach the end, how we wrap it up is what I want to show you. Finally, when we reach the end, we have an artery forceps here. We try to take a bite beyond it so that we don't leave it open anymore. Now we've got a loop and a straight thread. Whenever we'll put continuous suture, this is what is going to happen. Loop and a straight thread. I'll spread this loop between the index finger and the thumb. And as I do that, you can see the thread gets pulled. I'll drag this straight thread through this loop to do what is called a seesaw movement. See? That is why it is also called a seesaw knot. Now wait for the throw to settle down. To create another loop, I'll take the thread through this loop again. Second one I'll tighten so that it doesn't slip. Now you see that it doesn't slip. I'll again have a loop. Each time I'll do this, I'll have a loop. Something similar is the cobbler's knot, which you see that. Very often cobblers use it. They use the index finger to drag the loop down. Please hold it firmly. The loop each time will be created, and if I do seesaw movement, I'll be able to achieve that. See that? I can go 6. Each time, you see what I'm doing? Taking the thread through the loop and doing the seesaw movement.